Have you ever wondered how some of the most dynamic cities in the United States might suddenly vanish? It's a phenomenon that's happening more and more, not just here but around the world. From busy metropolises to lovely little towns, these locations are experiencing problems that threaten their very existence. Whether it's due to natural calamities, economic collapse, or other circumstances, the reality is that some cities are disappearing right before our eyes. In this video, we're looking into the top 10 cities in the United States that are at risk of disappearing in 2024. We'll explore why these cities are on the edge, looking at the unique issues they confront and the circumstances that have landed them on this list. From sinking soil to shrinking populations, each city has its own story of hardship and endurance. So let's take a closer look at these threatened urban regions and learn what makes them so susceptible. Let's begin. Number 10, Oakland. Located on the west coast of California, approximately east of San Francisco, Oakland is home to about 420,000 residents. Once a busy economic city, Oakland has undergone major changes throughout the years. Like many cities in California, Oakland suffers a relatively high cost of living. In fact, it ranks as the sixth most expensive city in the United States. The cost of living in Oakland is around 39% more than the national average. If you are considering moving here, it's crucial to be informed that the city also has a high crime rate. Unfortunately, the chances of becoming a victim of crime when roaming the streets are 1 in 12, and the likelihood of encountering property crime is 1 in 15. My suggestion to you, friends, is to avoid neighborhoods like Fitchburg, Eastmont, and Hoover Foster, where crime rates are extremely high. Last year alone, there were nearly 6,000 offenses reported in these locations. Number 9, Baton Rouge. The capital of Louisiana, with a population of roughly 225,000, living in Baton Rouge comes with more drawbacks than pros. The city lacks diversity and offers limited social activities such as concerts or games, forcing many citizens to depart out of boredom. Additionally, Baton Rouge is sharply split along racial lines, with significant racism and skyrocketing crime rates. The crime rate in Baton Rouge is 200% greater than the national average, with around 7,000 incidents per 100,000 inhabitants. Friends, to be honest, Baton Rouge sometimes feel like a vast hazardous neighborhood. The most hazardous areas include Brookstown, Victoria, and Greenville Addition. Another negative is the weather. It's quite hot, and hurricanes are common. The city had catastrophic floods in 2016 due to insufficient drainage infrastructure, affecting practically every region of Baton Rouge. Number 8, Detroit, Michigan. Known for its rich automotive history, Detroit has encountered various problems over the years. The city has a population of roughly 670,000 and has been battling with economic downturn, high unemployment rates, and major population loss. Detroit's cost of living is relatively low compared to other major U.S. cities, but this is compensated by its high crime rates. The city has one of the highest violent crime rates in the country, with a murder rate of 49.7 per 100,000 people. Neighborhoods like Brightmoor, Petoskey Otsego, and Riverdale are extremely deadly. Despite efforts to restore the city, many sections remain plagued by abandoned structures and inadequate public services. Detroit also suffers harsh winters, which can be tough for people. However, the city is making strides in key areas such as downtown revitalization and community projects aimed at lowering crime and improving living conditions. If you're finding this content informative, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Stay updated with more insights on dynamic cities and other intriguing topics. Your support helps us create more engaging content like this. Thank you for watching. Number 7, Youngstown. A city in Ohio, it now has a population of around 58,300. This figure shows a drop from the 2020 census, which showed the city's population at around 60,000. The demise of the steel sector in the late 20th century led to substantial economic downturns. The shutdown of steel mills led many citizens to leave in pursuit of better possibilities. Today, Youngstown has various issues, including high crime rates and economic instability. The north side of the city is particularly infamous for criminal operations, with a considerable number of the populace engaging in the sale of banned narcotics. Residents have a 1 in 20 risk of becoming victims of crime, making it a perilous place to live. Despite these concerns, Youngstown has been named as one of the top 10 places to retire in the U.S. by U.S. News & World Report in 2024. Its strategic location between Cleveland and Pittsburgh makes it an attractive alternative for seniors who have family and interests in those locations. The city is also working on numerous efforts to restore its economy and improve living circumstances for its citizens.
Number 6. St. Louis.
The largest metropolis in Missouri, it is situated at the junction of the Mississippi and Missouri rivers. The city's population is at roughly 272,610 as of 2024, a substantial reduction from its peak of nearly 856,000 in 1950. Once a significant railroad town, the fall in train utilization led to economic downturns and employment losses, causing many residents to flee. Today, St. Louis grapples with high crime rates and conservative social beliefs. The city reported 8,000 offenses per 100,000 inhabitants last year, including 18,000 property crimes. Violent crime is also widespread, with inhabitants facing a 1 in 40 chance of being victims. Despite these issues, St. Louis remains a culturally rich city with various attractions, including the Gateway Arch, Forest Park, and a strong art scene. Efforts are ongoing to address the city's difficulties and improve the quality of life for its citizens.
Number 5. Memphis. Located in the southern section of Tennessee, it has a population of around 630,000. Known for its rich musical tradition and historical significance, Memphis nevertheless battles with high crime rates.
The city's crime rate is 320% above the national average, with 100 offenses per 1,000 residents. Last year alone, more than 15,000 violent offenses were reported, making Memphis one of the most dangerous cities in America. Residents often feel frightened, forcing many to relocate to safer locations. Additionally, Memphis suffers challenges with cleanliness, since mountains of waste are frequently spotted on the streets, signaling potential weaknesses in municipal services. Despite these challenges, Memphis remains a city with a significant cultural past, home to sites like Graceland, Beale Street, and the National Civil Rights Museum. Efforts are being undertaken to reduce crime and enhance public services, trying to restore the city's reputation and safety.
Number 4. Cleveland.
Situated in the northeastern region of Ohio along the beaches of Lake Erie, it has witnessed its population drop from about 1 million in the mid-20th century to approximately 351,000 as of 2024. Once a bustling hub thanks to industrial magnates like John D. Rockefeller, who supplied employment to thousands, the city has struggled to adjust to economic changes. The fall of industry led to severe job losses and property foreclosures, sinking the city into a lengthy state of ruin. In recent years, Cleveland has continued to hemorrhage residents, with an anticipated 2,523 people leaving in 2022 alone. High crime rates and poverty beset many communities, contributing to the flight. Last year, the city reported over 6,000 offenses, far above the national average. Despite efforts to restore communities like Tremont and Ohio City, Cleveland remains in a hazardous state. One of the key reasons for Cleveland's downfall is the loss of manufacturing employment, which formerly formed the backbone of its economy. As industries migrated overseas, many inhabitants left in quest of better prospects elsewhere. This departure has left Cleveland with a significant pool of workers whose skills are no longer in demand, resulting to a citywide poverty rate of 31%. Additionally, the undereducated populace fails to adapt to the consumer and service-based work options accessible today.
Cleveland's history is defined with key events that shaped its development.
The Ohio Canal, for instance, transformed the city into a strategic interchange point for goods from the southeast and foreign coastlines, driving Cleveland's rise in the 19th century. However, the city's prosperity have declined in recent decades, and it now faces various challenges, including a high proportion of habitual runaways among its young and a shrinking population.
Number 3. Buffalo, located near Niagara Falls and the Canadian border, is the second most populous city in New York State.
Known for its friendly population, reasonable housing, and bustling nightlife, Buffalo offers a cost of living that is around 30% lower than New York City. For instance, a property costing $400,000 in NYC would be roughly $240,000 in Buffalo. However, affordability comes with a downside. The city's crime rate is shockingly high, at 90% above the national average, with a 1 in 20 chance of becoming a crime victim. Safety is a serious issue for people, as the city experienced 70 killings in 2022, translating to around 25 per 100,000 residents. Consequently, over 60,000 individuals leave Buffalo each month, frustrated up with the continuous challenges. The city's collapse may be traced back to the mid-20th century when businesses began shutting down, resulting to a major outflow of citizens seeking economic prospects in the South and West. By 2010, Buffalo had lost nearly half of its peak population of over 500,000 people. This trend shows little indications of reversing, with forecasts predicting that Buffalo could lose roughly a quarter of its current population by 2100. Buffalo's economic woes are further aggravated by its deteriorating infrastructure and high crime rates. Despite these obstacles, the city remains home to a dedicated citizenry and enjoys a rich cultural past. However, without considerable intervention and investment, Buffalo's future seems gloomy. In addition to its demographic issues, Buffalo confronts environmental threats. Rising sea levels and sinking ground are anticipated to put more than 500,000 people at risk of frequent floods throughout 32 U.S. coastal communities, including Buffalo. If no efforts are made to prevent this danger, the subsequent deluges might inflict $17 billion in losses by 2050.
Number 2. Albuquerque, the most populous city in New Mexico, boasts a population of over 500,000.
Famous as the filming setting for the TV series Breaking Bad, the city is rich in culture but blighted by high crime rates. With a crime rate of 6,400 per 100,000 people, 175% more than the national average, residents have a 1 in 40 chance of falling victim to crime. Property and violent crimes are particularly widespread, making people feel frightened. Traffic congestion and a substandard public transportation system contribute to the city's troubles. Residents sometimes struggle with vehicle part thefts and interactions with hostile homeless individuals, significantly lowering the quality of life. As of 2024, Albuquerque's population is 571,161, down from 585,485 in 2020, marking a 1.36% reduction. The city is now dropping at a rate of 0.34% yearly. Despite its troubles, Albuquerque remains an attractive destination for many due to its stunning environment, rich history, and 310 days of sunlight per year. The city's economy is backed by many businesses, including technology and research institutes like Sandia National Laboratories. However, Albuquerque struggles with flat population growth, with 20% of its inhabitants living below the poverty level. The city also has a gun mortality rate that is 40% higher than the national average and a crime rate 53% higher than the U.S. average. Albuquerque's demographic composition is diversified, having a racial makeup of 60.65% white, 18.4% two or more races, 10.03% other race, 4.81% Native American, 3.16% Black or African American, 3.1% Asian, and 0.1% Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islander. The median age of Albuquerque is 38 years, with males averaging 36.5 years and females 39.4 years. Despite its struggles, Albuquerque has a comparatively high level of educational achievement, with around 20.74% of people holding a bachelor's degree and 17.1% possessing a graduate degree. The average household income is $83,900. At number 1, Little Rock, the capital and largest city of Arkansas, is home to approximately 200,000 people. While it gives a calm small-town ambiance, it can also be fairly dreary for those seeking more action. The city struggles with poverty, with many families unable to purchase basic essentials like food. This is particularly discouraging in a wealthy nation like the United States. Additionally, Little Rock is one of the most dangerous cities in America, with a crime rate of 7,000 per 100,000 residents, 200% higher than the national average. The mix of economic hardship and high crime makes it a challenging place to live. Despite its relatively constant population, Little Rock is not immune to the greater difficulties facing many American communities. Rising sea levels and climate change pose substantial dangers to coastal communities, and while Little Rock lies inland, it is not totally protected from these environmental repercussions. The city's future resilience will depend on its ability to adapt to shifting climatic circumstances and mitigate potential dangers. As we conclude off our journey through these endangered cities, it's evident that a combination of environmental, economic, and societal reasons has put them at risk. Each city on this list faces various issues, yet they all share a common thread of fragility. By comprehending these concerns, we can better appreciate the balance that keeps our communities functioning and see the significance of addressing these threats head-on. Let's hope that by casting a light on these fading cities, we may encourage action to preserve their rich histories and dynamic communities for future generations. As we conclude off our journey through these endangered cities, it's evident that a mix of environmental, economic, and societal reasons has put them at risk. Each city on this list faces various issues, yet they all share a common thread of fragility. By comprehending these concerns, we can better appreciate the balance that keeps our communities functioning and see the significance of addressing these threats head-on. Let's hope that by casting a light on these fading cities, we may encourage action to preserve their rich histories and dynamic communities for future generations. If you enjoyed this video, let us know in the comment box down below and turn on your notifications to know when we next upload.